called manual partitioning. So manual partitioning is something that is actually not recommended for new users, since you need to actually learn and understand how UEFI works, what partitions are required in case of UEFI, what UEFI is, if your system is UEFI, if your system is BIOS. So different kinds of partitioning schemes are present here. That's why I did not actually go for manual partitioning, and since the installer actually gives us the liberty of choosing an automatic partition, so why go for manual, right? So I will just go ahead and erase this. It will, so since I do not have any problems since this is in a virtual machine, so anything that goes wrong will go wrong inside the virtual machine, and my actual system will never be affected in case of a virtual machine if I'm installing in a virtual machine. So it's just a 20 GB hard disk that I initially gave it, so it will install in that only. If I go ahead, click on next. Now before moving forward, I believe people might have doubts in the partition area, so the floor is open for questions. You can post your questions in the chat, in the Etherpad, or you can unmute and speak. Go ahead, everyone. Jasmeet, please go to the pad as well if you can and tell me the questions from the chat as well, because I cannot remove this screen and go to the chat. Okay, so I don't think we have any questions. Let's move forward. So first of all, it's very clearly asking me what is my full name. My full name is Manav Sethi. Yes. So what name do you want to use when you log in? So this is going to be your username. I'm going to set this to Insan. So this is my username. This is going to be the name of this computer. So whenever you try and connect to, let's say, a Bluetooth device, that is the name of your computer. For example, my name of computer is Manav. So whenever I try and connect to my phone using Bluetooth, it will show me Manav. So anywhere I try and connect, my name of computer will be Manav. So that is.
So Manav, just a second. MV has put up a question in the chat.
Okay.
If you have 8 GB RAM, will I need swap memory?
So it's a situation. You can have swap memory if you want, but it's not really necessary. I don't think so. But it also depends upon your use case. So let's say if your use case is not actually going ahead and playing games every single day on your computer, and like, so games also depends. Let's say you are playing a heavyweight game, so you will obviously need swap memory since 8 GB may or may not be enough for it. But let's say your use case is simply going ahead browsing the internet using word processor, not going towards any kind of development, for example, using Android Studio or stuff. So that means 8 GB would be enough without swap. But if your use case is playing games and using IDs and stuff, so you will need swap memory. Any more questions? Okay, so Sivam, you have your hand raised. If you have a question, then please go ahead. Otherwise, please lower your hand. Okay, so let's continue. What is the name of this computer? Manav. So this is going to be my account password. Okay, so now I see another option, login automatically without asking for password. You can, it depends upon you, what you want to do. And there is another option. So in Linux, there is a concept that we'll be touching upon in the next session, which is sudo or administration. So either you can go for the same password or you can set a different password. So we will be touching upon the root, the concept of what a root user is and what is sudo or sudo. So currently I am going to do this. Why don't my passwords match? Yes, they do now. Okay, let's go ahead. So now, let's choose an office suite. So I will briefly touch upon what these are. Office suites basically mean, so I believe everyone here uses, on Windows uses Microsoft Word. So on Linux, I personally use Google Slides or maybe Google Docs for whatever purposes I have to. But you can go ahead and install any Office suite here. So you can install free Office, which is extremely similar to how MS Word or MS Paint, no, not MS Paint. So how MS Word or maybe MS Excel looks, like the representation right here. So this is that. You can also go for LibreOffice. Both of these are, I believe, open source. No, I think FreeOffice is not open source. So LibreOffice is open source. We can go ahead. So this is going to be the final summary of whatever it looks like. This is, so you see this right here, right? Create new MS-DOS partition on something something. Create new size partition. So in case of manual partitioning, whatever this is doing right here, we'll have to do all that on our own. So I'm not saying that's difficult, but you need to understand a lot of things actually before going ahead and doing this. And the final step, you need to verify everything right here. So this is the current partition table. Nothing is, no OS is present on my computer right now according to this. And after that, it's going to have this 11.5 GB is going to be Manjaro and 8.5 GB is going to be Swap. And I'm going to go ahead and install this. It's prompting me, you will not be able to undo these changes. And this is where the installation process pretty much ends. So the floor is actually again open for questions, since it will take about 5-10 minutes to install. Okay, so until it installs, I can maybe show you a little bit of customization tricks in the live environment. Let's see. So let's not use the terminal right now. Let me check if this has the package installer. Okay, so it does. So you need to go to add or remove software. We're going to add doc software. So it's called Latte Doc. Okay, so apparently behaving weirdly. No package found. Is weird. Just wait a second. Okay, so we will wait for a couple of minutes. Let's see, it's still installing.
Manav, I see BK would like to speak. So yeah, BK, go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Alright, so I posted my question in the chat as well. It is that for, I'm talking about swap memories in a laptop with 8 GB RAM. There were three options actually. There was the option to not use swap memory, to use it with a hyphenate option, or to use it without a hyphenate option. Given that I'm going to use my Linux computer for development as well as perhaps gaming, that I'm not sure. So what option should I choose? Hibernate or no hibernate?
So mostly people actually do not hibernate these days. Like so people do not actually use Hibernate, but if you want, you can. Let's say you want to put your computer to. So what Hibernate? Have you actually used Hibernate on Windows?
No,
So
I haven't. It would be
yeah,
nice if you explain that as well.
yeah. Sorry. So basically, Windows also offers an option to put your computer on Hibernate. So I think people here who use laptops have used the sleep mode in Windows. So
Yeah.
Hibernate and sleep are similar, but Hibernate is actually meant for longer durations of time. I personally haven't ever used Hibernate in my life. I don't know what's the difference between Hibernate and sleep actually. Okay, so I just installed a program called Lattidoc. We can do that.
The main difference between sleep and hibernate is that sleep consumes battery and hibernate does not consume battery.
Oh,
This is because during sleep the current state of your operating system is stored on RAM, while in the case of hibernate the state is stored on the hard disk.
Right.
So
So
this
if
is why going to the hibernate takes longer time than going directly to sleep.
okay, so all of this concludes in the fact that if I don't use Hibernate often, which I probably will not, then I don't need Hibernate then.
Yep.
Okay. Alright, thank you so much.
okay. So I just installed a program called Lattidoc on my system. You can use the graphical installer instead of the terminal. So we have something called add or remove software. It's called PAMAC in Manjaro. It's default installed by default. Let's see, still installing. Okay. So now I can actually see packages. So you can actually go ahead and install stuff from this graphical installer which is present here. You can search for add or remove software. Apart from that, let's take a little tour of whatever stuff is pre-installed. So I see some development tools, Qt-based tools. If you don't need these tools, please go ahead and uninstall them after your install. We have Steam for gaming, stuff, graphical stuff. So maybe I can go ahead and tell you about these as well a little bit. So GwenView is the default image viewer, which can actually load up and provides a lot more options than the Windows default images. Ocular is the PDF document viewer. Like it is generally used for PDF. You can use it for, I think it supports other formats as well. And Scanlight is for image scanning using your like scanner. So we have applications, all applications. Okay. So underneath multimedia, we have disk burning, music player client. We have a bunch of Qt utilities and VLC media player by default. So let's go back. Let's see system. So we have a bunch of tools. We have time shift. So Yakuaki is a very useful tool. Once you start getting used to using the terminal, you can actually use this drop down terminal instead of bringing up a new terminal window each time. Okay, so KD Plasma offers so much customization of options. It's basically up to your imagination on what you can and cannot do with it. I can maybe show you some of them. Okay, so let's edit panel.
Manav, I guess you can show the difference between the Manjaro out of the box and the Manjaro you have customized yourself.
Maybe, yes. So this is what Manjaro out of the box looks like. And okay, so this is what my Manjaro looks like. This is what my Manjaro looks like. So like I have actually changed a lot of stuff. This is Lattidoc. So you can go to, okay, so let me just get back. Okay, so I can go to edit panel and completely remove this. So I don't really have a panel right now in my screen. and that is okay for Plasma. So I can go to add panel, I can add an application menu bar. So I will try and post all of these things, customizations that I'm doing in my blog, and I will put the blog link in the Telegram group. So whenever you plan to go ahead and actually customize your distribution, whatever distribution you want, KD still remains the same. So KD is just a desktop environment. It does not matter whatever distribution you are on, KD will still remain the same. So an application menu bar basically means that it is a menu bar with global menus on it. So we have global menu basically means that each time I open any kind of application, the default menu bar. So when you open an application, you are greeted with a top menu bar, which has options like file, save, etc. So all of that will be displayed here. So I can go ahead, edit panel. So here I have the global panel. I have an option to remove it. If I go to add, I can add widgets, and underneath widgets I have a whole bunch of stuff that I can look and add into this to use it. So one widget that is I think necessary is an application launcher. So if I just go ahead, I have an application launcher. It's pretty simple to actually go ahead and customize your install. So if I go to system settings, I can actually choose a lot more stuff and change it. Let's see. Okay, so here's an option to change the plasma style. I don't really like light colors or the light style. I will change it to dark. It will take a couple of minutes. I can also actually change the global theme of what the entire thing will look like. So I can, so if I don't like the global themes that are here by default, okay, so this is weird. I think I need to add the dog first. Just a second. Okay, so yeah, we now have a doc running underneath here, right here, so that I can actually see whatever's going on. It's about to complete the install process. So I can actually see all of these huge amount of themes that are present, and all of these are developed by people of the community. So these are all people who have developed these themes, maybe for themselves, maybe for others, and I can install any one of them. So let's say I install both of these things. I'll wait for a bit for it to complete installing. Until then, maybe I can try and apply the piece. Okay, so I now have a dark theme going. This is as simple as it gets. I can select a custom icon pack. So currently it's using the Breeze Dark icon pack. I can do get new icons, and the current icon pack that I'm using on my machine is called, I think, Candy Icons. So if I look for it, candy, come on. Yes, I have Candy Icons. So pretty slow. And go ahead, look at this. I can actually add or remove the buttons that are shown here. I can configure how this looks. I can configure whatever stuff comes up here. You have a whole bunch of options, and the thing I really like about Manjaro is it offers you this hardware configuration panel in the settings. So what you can do is, by default, the relationship between Linux and NVIDIA is not that great. So sometimes you'll install the NVIDIA proprietary NVIDIA drivers and stuff can go wrong. But I actually had a really great experience installing proprietary drivers on Manjaro. So you can just click on auto install drivers and it will pick out the drivers for you. So MHWD will detect your open source drivers and install it. I am not going to do it here. It also offers you the option to change and install a newer or a older kernel, which is also a great and amazing thing which a lot of distributions don't offer. So if I want to go to a much more recent kernel like 5.6, 5.7, I can go ahead. It tells me that this is an experimental kernel. Things can go wrong here. But if I want to, let's say, I am working on an application, I want to test it for the kernel 5.7. Some aspect of the kernel actually affects how the application behaves. So I can go ahead, install this, upgrade to this kernel using this graphical environment, and then maybe roll back to the earlier kernel, which is a great thing. So I have this here. Let's see it. So it's still at 95%. Any more questions? The floor is still open for questions. So maybe I can configure the dock a little bit. So as you see, the latte dock also offers you a ton of options on what you can and cannot do with it, which is I believe is amazing because you can actually make this into whatever kind of dock you like. If you don't want this magnification, you can remove this. If you don't want any kind of animation, you can remove this. Okay, so I just have to click on, so it's installed. I just have to click on restart now, and let's hope this successfully restarts in our virtual machine. Yeah, we'll have to wait for it to shut down. Jasmeet, do we have any questions on the Etherpad?
No, there are no questions on the Etherpad. If anybody wants to ask any question, they can put it here or on the Etherpad link, or they can unmute themselves and ask right away.
Waiting. So I'll be back in a jiffy.
Also, if anyone is installing Linux right now, Manjaro, so they can share their progress also.
Yeah, anybody who is doing, yeah, exactly. So anybody is doing following along. If any problems, you can also share that. So anytime you decide to actually go ahead and install Linux in the future as well, you can post your questions on the open code chat, or I think we provided a group for India Linux users group as well. If you have joined that, you can go ahead and put all your questions there as well. So I think it's rebooting. Yeah, so this is default start screen. So one little thing that I wanted to share was that sometimes, let's say you did something and broke your install. So you can generally look at whatever this log was, and it will very clearly show failed. So whatever step failed, you can just go ahead, Google it, and like 99% of the time, the community is great. It will give you a lot of solutions on what you can do to like reverse that. So this is the Manjaro install I did today. This is what it looks like. So maybe
basically 50%. Software test is like is for probably especially when you get around life.
so it's a little bit slow, I believe, because I did not give enough RAM to my VM. Has the live stream been stopped this week? Jasmeet, am I audible?
Yeah, so the live stream is still going.
Please go ahead and stop it because like the session is officially over. If you guys want to leave, you can. If you want to ask any question, you can. We are still here.